Can you hear me? I'm live on Discord right now, and we're having a this crazy debate about everything under the sun. All right, they're talking about everything. Hold on, let me fix the audio. Right now, they're talking about transgender bathrooms, and how it's not a big deal, and people are freaking out over nothing. And then you have some right-leaning people in here, you have some left-leaning people in here, but I just want you guys to hear the conversation, and I want to know what you guys think of the conversation.
Have to be in reality. I hate this hypothetical shit we always do, but it always comes down to whatever. The reality is, if Birdman goes walking past me in the bathroom and goes to the stall and shuts the thing and we're washing our hands, we're going to finish up, we're going to dry our shit off, and we're going to keep it moving, just like we were going to do already. Birdman probably needed to take a shit and the men's bathroom is fucked up, or the stall is out of order, or whatever. Birdman had to take a poop.
Can y'all hear?
And if Birdman needs to poop, I'm not going to stop him from pooping.
Can y'all hear on YouTube? Let me know if you can hear on YouTube.
You know? I just,
But I don't even use public bathrooms, so I don't even
don't be in public restrooms like that. I'm doing it for my kid.
No, I really don't fuck with either.
I don't sit my ass on a public toilet seat. I can hold it, or I will literally country girl it and go outside into the woods or something, into the wood line, and drop my trowel. I always got wipes on me.
We got audio.
like
All right,
Hollywood
now
because
you guys can
public
drop some
bathroom,
I don't
different
give a fuck. but
discussions in the chat.
nothing
that you would
good
like to
happens
hear.
in public
I'll ask
bathrooms. I
questions
learned
in
that in
Discord.
Hollywood.
I'm sorry, I'm having to talk over them. You can drop some questions in the chat. Drop something you would like to hear us debate. But I wanted to stream this because we were on the topic of climate change, and I was expressing clearly some concerns about the climate, right? And I found that most of us in here had the same concerns about the climate, and also understood that there was a culprit as to why the climate is changing. We overfish, we overproduce beef, poultry, all these things. It's just disrupting nature. And I was like, wow, everyone here agrees that there is something that we can come to an agreement on. All right. So then why can't we recognize the propaganda and the narratives? And then we got into this discussion. So please enjoy. I hope you guys like the conversation, and I hope you do engage in the chat and drop different topics that you would like to hear.
So if it came between going in your
all
pants,
day at school.
so if it came between going in your pants or the public bathroom, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go in your pants?
I'm never getting like that. I'm not shitting my pants like that.
I'm
No
just
way,
saying,
bro.
if it came down to
You're
it,
about
No
to,
way, bro.
He's
There's
saying
no
if
way.
you're about to, it's a possibility.
If I'm
Your
about
stomach
to,
gets
and there's
fucked up.
something that, sure, I'll go try my best to
Go
use
hover
public
over that
restroom.
bitch.
Yeah, I'll go hover over a public toilet.
Turlet.
I don't consume food and not have a plan for the rest of after. You feel me? Like
Say toilet again.
Laws are based on
Turlet.
genitalia.
Turlet.
Oh, God. All right.
Turlet.
Can we have an actual discussion and not?
Yeah. let's get a
Can we have an
productive
actual
conversation.
discussion?
Kill all Jews.
Oh my
No,
God.
no.
Why would you say that?
oh my god,
I've never even said that. That's insane. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Can you be clear if you're talking about Zionists? Okay.
No, I'm joking. I'm talking about Zionists.
Okay.
No, let's
Thank
not
you.
talk
I
about
would
no,
never.
bro.
Hold on.
Okay.
I would never want to
Who
eradicate the
cares?
whole.
They're across the ocean. Who gives a fuck?
But these Zionist fucking bankers, yeah, they gotta go.
They're across the ocean. Let's let the military deal with them. Fuck it. We don't have to worry about that
it's
shit.
Zionists that live in the country. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
no, they gotta go.
Sure. You ever live around
Ooh, y'all
Hasidic
scared. Y'all want to talk about
Anybody?
the Zionists. I'm sorry. What?
Anybody live
Literally.
around Hasidic Jews? I don't give a fuck about the Jews running anything they want to. I just don't give a fuck.
No,
Yeah,
nobody
you
has
do,
lived
though.
around.
We've
I
talked
just got
about
too
this.
much
You do-
fucking in my system right now. You're right, I do. But
You
I just got too
fucking
much
care.
fucking in my system right now. You have to excuse
Really,
me.
nobody-
I got
nobody has
a lot
lived
of
around, like-
fucking this evening.
These Jews are
Nobody-
fucking everything.
Nobody has lived around Hasidic Jews for real.
No,
I mean, unless you live up north.
Hasidic, yeah, Hasidic
Yeah,
Jews.
Hasidic
where-
Jews.
yeah.
You never lived around them.
Yeah, up
Oh,
north.
no.
Oh boy. Oh
No,
boy.
I'm in Georgia. We don't have a whole lot of Jewish folk down here. Like we don't have no messianic, no.
Behavior.
We just ain't got no Jews down here. We
Okay.
got other shit. We just
All
ain't
right.
got
Let's
Jews.
have another fun topic. We were discussing the climate, but we agree on all
Ooh,
that.
yeah,
We
we
agree on
do.
the
Yeah,
climate.
Yeah, I
we
think
agree.
everybody in here agrees. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you guys?
Probably not agreeable.
I don't think we agree on propaganda. I think that would be a good topic for
Mm.
most of the people in here to
Hmm.
discuss. Propaganda,
Propaganda
is
regarding
the
what?
least. Well, there's propaganda in everything we take in. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But why can we recognize propaganda? And this is for the right and the left. This is not just a left question. Why don't we recognize propaganda when it's coming from our own side?
Facts.
That's
Well,
true.
I think
believe
that's
there is
because
liberal
a lot of people are open to their biases and they don't check themselves and be like, you know what? I probably know that this is fake, but I'm going to choose. Like, they don't even factor
Yeah,
that
you're
in. I
locked
think
in
maybe.
ideology. You're stuck in
think
your own
that-
ideology,
yeah,
and you don't want to
yeah.
skip it, and you're getting hit with this
You just-
information. You're just gonna believe it because
Mhm.
you're fucking retarded and boxed in.
Well, when you see something from a familiar source, you've already previously trusted, and you see that and you believe it. A lot of people do that.
And especially when it's violent shit, like people just believe it.
Well, it's not just violent shit; it's all kind of shit,
okay,
bro.
I have an example. That burnt ass baby on Twitter,
Yeah.
the AI baby. Everybody.
I don't want to talk about that shit, man. I don't want to talk about that shit.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying. Millions.
But that's the
of people
power
are-
of propaganda. Like, and that's when you look at like that's why like the best way to study propaganda is especially when you look at like Joseph Goebbels in Germany. Like they like propaganda is a very fucking useful tool, and that's the thing. Like when we hear the term propaganda, we are automatically programmed to think negative. It's bad. There is good propaganda. Like there is like it's kind of like practical.
propaganda.
There is
It
good
is.
propaganda. I'll agree with you on that. But propaganda, most times, is not recognized, whether it's
Right.
good or bad. People don't recognize the propaganda, and they attach themselves, oftentimes, to a movement, to a social issue, when we're all being led to the slaughter. And I think that's real important in this time, based on, we don't have to talk about Jews, but we can talk about all the propaganda coming from Hamas and Israel. But there's only one side being recognized as propaganda, which is why I'm asking,
Yeah.
like, why do you guys think we don't call it out or recognize it, or just, I don't know,
Because
just
we're
have some
afraid.
integrity to be like, no, this is propaganda.
We're
That's not what's
afraid.
actually happening.
It's fear.
I wouldn't say it's because people are scared necessarily.
I would say.
I tell you what it
People are
is. I
afraid.
think people don't call out the propaganda because they don't want to admit that their side might be wrong.
They're
Exactly.
wrong.
Their
Yeah.
side.
It's fear.
I think
It's
that's
fear.
that pride
Okay,
factor.
Karen,
I think it more is like
now.
a pride / fear thing of, I'll never admit that somebody else was right and I was wrong. And that this
Exactly.
is a
That was
setup,
that was
right?
the point they made
We've
earlier,
all been
Olivia.
set up, right? We've all been hoodwinked
Yeah, facts.
together, and nobody wants to admit that, right? Nobody wants to be like, you know what? We were wrong about so and so. We were
Nobody
wrong about this. We were wrong about that. Yeah, everybody
Nobody.
hates that, bro. That's why nobody's gonna admit to this propaganda bullshit on any issue. Fuck it, whatever is going on right now on any issue.
You'll
Like,
admit to it.
like
You'll admit
Trump,
to it when it.
take
Hold on, wait.
Biden,
You'll
you know?
admit to it when it doesn't fit your bias and your ideology.
Right.
Sure.
That's
Of course.
the problem.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
the issue
And I think that's why I'm
Sunnis
saying
bring it up.
that pride and that fear comes up of not admitting and not being real with one another too. I think that's a factor. I think we lie.
Here's the thing, objectively, propaganda is effective objectively. When you look at whether it's your side or the other side, like
Doesn't make it
propaganda is just a
Doesn't
useful
make it
tool
right.
that each side uses. If you're looking at it objectively, like
Doesn't make it right, though, Corey.
it's not about making it right. It's just that it's a useful, effective tool to get your message out or to get support for whatever fight you're like. For example, if we this propaganda that was pro-Palestine and shit like that, if that propaganda was just shut down and we only got the propaganda for supporting Israel and all this shit, like nobody would really support Palestine. So a lot of the support from Palestine comes through the propaganda that we receive through back
So what
channels.
I'm hearing is the propaganda that propaganda is the one.
I say bad is if you
But I agree.
everybody is bad propaganda, because if the government's allowing you to see it, then they're wanting you to see it. Like, the government doesn't have to show you what they don't want to show you. So
See, I
if-
don't
if
believe
it's
that.
a bad-
I don't believe that at all. If I can push
I
back
mean,
on
but-
what you just said.
What? Which part?
Well, we give the government this like big, like omnivorous presence, and the illusion that they just control every facet. I don't believe that. There are people who may not be on social media that have no problem sticking a message out there that they want, regardless of whether their government wants or not. We see it all the time on a small scale. I speak against my government all the time, and my voice is out there. I may not have millions of followers and all that, but you can guarantee you there's somebody in the crowd who's heard me talk before or agreed with something I said. I openly declare I'm anti-status, openly. So I don't think that is being. I think that there is some propaganda. I will agree with you there. There is, but there's also people who are using their voices on Twitter Space to speak out and actually talk about what is going on. Like,
and that could be seen as propaganda, because, like, if it is in any way criticizing America or the American agenda or the narrative that is being, pushed of, Israel, defending itself and things like that, like that is the narrative. So that would be propaganda. So anything that is anything that you're pushing, especially if it's critiquing that narrative, will be seen as propaganda. Just as vice versa, we see the pro-Israel shit as propaganda. The people who do support it, they don't see it as propaganda either. So I get to your original point.
But what I want to say is, like,
I see
do
that.
you
I see
think?
the Arab propaganda and the fucking Israelite propaganda? I see both propaganda, bro.
I don't see much of it. Like, I don't think the general population. This is how propaganda works. They're not trying to reach the people like us who do our research. They're like propaganda. Only really.
What I want to say is, like,
the propaganda from both sides is what I'm saying. No, I don't
Yeah, but
think
it's about what your access to. Like, if you have to literally go through back channels to find the real news, like social media. But like, in good things, like with social media, you can find real truth and real shit. But like, propaganda is geared towards the uneducated masses to support something without, any sort of knowledge of it. Like, most people that are supporting Israel right now, they don't know shit about Palestine, Israel, the Israeli, like the conflicts, like the two-state solution. No, majority of people do not know shit about this. But they take it. That is what propaganda. That's who the propaganda works on. It doesn't work on people.
in the United States, though, you have the option to speak out against your government, whereas I think in Israel versus Palestine, you don't have that kind of option. Like, you can't go on Twitter, you can't go on TikTok and speak out because people won't understand, or it'll be silenced by the government. Like, you don't have the same opportunities in the United States, whereas Israel, Palestine, like Afghanistan, the entire Middle East, they don't have those same opportunities because they're silenced by the government. So that's what I'm
See,
saying.
I disagree with that. There's Israelis
Really?
right now that are speaking out. I just had an Israeli on my live when all this was going on, and she said, "Look," she showed the streets of where she lives at. Bro, look, these people
Probably
are
because they're
living
in such
normal life.
disarray
This is
right now.
happening.
No,
in
but like,
specific
do the
parts.
Palestinians have the same opportunity as the
they
Israelis?
have cell phones.
Palestinians have
Yeah.
cell phones now. Their treatment may be completely different. I won't fight you
Yeah,
there.
that's what I'm saying.
Isn't
Their
their power
treatment
cut
may
off
be
and shit
different.
right now?
So that's what I will agree with you now and say that they are definitely making sure they have no voice, because if you
Of
have
course.
no internet, you have no way to get your message out,
Yeah.
right? So I can agree to that there, but to say that they haven't spoke out and they're in fear of speaking out, I'll disagree with that, because there's a lot of people who speak out and they're not dead.
I see them on TikTok
But do you
everywhere.
think that Israel does a lot more to silence the Palestinians or to
No,
put out
that's fine.
propaganda for Israel against the Palestinians?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Like, do you think that Israel actually does silence the Palestinians and puts out more Israel propaganda against them because they can't
think-
speak out?
I think because Israel is bigger
Yeah,
and because of Israel's presence, that's going to happen automatically.
of course.
Because of a narrative that's already been spun, you look at one side as the evil character and you look at the other side
Yep.
as the less evil character. So naturally, people are going to turn the blind eye, and then you add 9/11 to it, and we already have a
Oh,
bias
yeah.
against these people.
Mm.
I
I think there's more to it too. It's not just Israel doing it; America is doing it.
For sure.
We-
For sure, yeah.
Half our fucking population is, bro. Supporting Israel.
But what's sad is we got the right David, that person from Florida, spreading all this, hate out there. I mean, it's just, come on, guys. I mean, that's propaganda itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, for sure. Like, not to go, I'm not going religious. I'm making a point. Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire are the biggest conservative medias in the game. Like, they are. And they openly blaspheme Jesus, but we support them. That's something I would never call out. Like, Ben Shapiro thinks that Jesus didn't even perform miracles, right? He doesn't believe that Jesus did anything we believe he did, but we still support these people. Still.
Yeah.
That's true. That is very true. People look past that he's Jewish a lot, and evangelicals claim to care about that, but give Ben.
No, they don't. They've all bought into this political scheme. They've all bought into the political scheme.
I agree with that too. Yeah. Yeah, they've consumed too much of the metaphorical Kool-Aid. They've been convinced of too much. And I think fear tactics is how they started it. Like, honestly.
but
I remember growing up in the church during Y2K. People sold everything they had. They hid in the church for days. It was crazy.
What?
It was crazy. Yeah, I'm not fucking around.
Yeah, we had a watch night service before Y2K.
Yeah, we absolutely fucking did. They freaked out. Everybody sold their shit, bought a bunch of bug out shit. They thought the world was gonna end.
Yep.
I swear to God, I was there. I was little. It was crazy.
What did you say it was called? Y2K?
Y2K, bro.
Y2K, yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I remember that time.
That was crazy.
I'm about to look into it.
My parents bugged out, bro. Our whole church did. They went nuts. You gotta remember, I was raised Pentecostal. Like, we were severely Christian. Like, that's how I like to call it. We were severely Christian. Like,
It's
all it was is we went from
19 a week, bro.
When we went from 1999 to 2000, everybody was terrified that all the computers and everything was going to mess up. So
that everything was gonna, that all the grids were gonna fail and everything, just gonna fuck everything up. Like,
can I say something? I was 3 years
Yes,
old.
let's go. I want to hear your perspective. Come on. We're live on YouTube, so Phil, like, be candid. Speak
Let's
on it.
go.
Sick. The thing about Y2K was they just said it too early. The way the computers are constructed right now, the way that the archetypes are, there will come a time where we're so far in the future that the computer can't even comprehend how far we are. So all the computers will die eventually until we upgrade the archetype again to something higher. So right now we're at 64-bit. I forget, but there's an exact date that the computers will shut off because they can't comprehend how far we are in time. So we have to upgrade to 86, which is what we have now. But even that has its limit, and it will continue on and on.
we're not 86.
No, 86-bit. That's like an archetype where a certain.
We're 8664.
Yeah.
There it is. Thank you. 8664. My fault. So, Cass could give a better answer than I can.
Yeah, I'm not.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Right?
Well, I'm not going to go.
You're not the whole thing.
Like, there's probably 2 people outside of me that actually care.
I mean, Aviator, do y'all remember when the whole IP6 that all the world's in because we don't have an IP address? I mean, IP4.
That was recent, wasn't it?
Jesus, y'all.
IP4 that we've been in IP6, and it's like, wow.
What?
Y'all talking about things that you know nothing about. I don't know why it's bothering me so much.
Oh my
today,
goodness, this is
for some reason, it's really just getting under my skin.
I want to ask, was I entirely wrong about that or what?
No, you're not entirely wrong. Your explanation was a little off, but
Okay.
the basic premise is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, then good enough.
All right, where were we? Or Y2K? Or were we talking about?
For the same token, guys, if
Conservative.
Israel, Palestine, and propaganda.
We're talking about
if
even.
we have such a
Here, let me.
If we have such a laissez-faire, how's that affect?
All
That's
right.
gonna affect us, right?
Let's not go there.
What?
That would be.
Gotta reel it back. Reel it back.
We gotta have an entertaining
Laissez-faire,
conversation.
guys. Laissez-faire, guys.
No. We gotta have a conversation. We
It's
have to have an
laissez.
entertainment one. Okay. Who's leftist in here? Who's leftist in
Not
here?
laissez.
Are there more leftists than not?
Corey,
I was gonna-
Olivia.
Sort of leftist.
I'm sorry, what?
Sort of.
Leftista.
Oh my God, where's that
I prefer
going?
to be called leftista.
Hey, Corey, are you
not
there,
saying
bro?
that.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. What is a general consensus on conservatives? And would you put me in a category of that? I'm interested. I don't think I've ever asked anybody that.
You want to know what leftists think about conservatives? for real?
Conservatism, yes. And do I fit the category, or is there like a population of conservatives that don't necessarily fall in line with that? Whatever.
There's a
whatever your
population
concept
of conservatives that don't fall in line with you. Anything. It's just like social identity politics, and they couldn't name you one piece of legislation in the past 12 months, much less 2 years.
Yeah, I would say Sunni. Sunni falls under. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're in a different category where you actually look into things. And you'll look up.
She
shit.
falls into the
Draw.
non-typical mainstream conservative category.
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah.
like the non-typical. I would say,
Mm.
from what I've been hearing, yeah.
So would you
Yeah.
say that most conservatives that speak on these things are just because I believe both sides have no clue what they're talking about, right? But
Yeah.
would you say that they are just as dumb as they think leftists are?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd say that both sides think the same things about each other. That they're just listening to headlines. They're not looking at anything. They're not
Not on
researching it for
TV,
yeah.
themselves. And I think that both sides think that about each other. That, oh, you're just
No, there's
listening
a
to a
lesson
fucking
right there on the
headline.
piano.
You're not even looking into anything. You're just listening to what you're being told, and that's it.
Yeah, I would say extreme conservatives, like media conservatives, and extreme leftists, like media leftists, are dumb. They're fucking dumb.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, there's extremists on either side too. Like, let's be for real. There's some extreme leftists. There's some extreme right. Like, there's both of them.
So if you
They
guys could
exist.
give me a mainstream conservative that you find tolerable, who would it be?
Okay, mainstream.
Tucker Carlson.
Okay.
No.
No, he's fucking.
I'm on
He's
the- I'm on
bait.
the
He's
right.
bait for the masses.
Let me see.
Bait.
And
I'd
mainstream.
say anomaly.
Anomaly. Okay.
Maybe Peterson, Justin or Jordan Peterson. He's not bad.
Okay. Okay.
Peterson's not terrible. I respect him a little bit.
I mean,
Peterson's not
Peterson, like, I would respect him more if he didn't like overdose on benzos and had to go to Russia to be in a coma for that. But anyway.
Yeah, true. True. They can't be perfect. Like, you know. Let's see. What's another conservative?
I would say Larry Elder is one for me.
Okay.
Are you a leftist,
What
Nico?
the shit?
No, I'm not leftist. I thought we were just on names.
Yeah, 'cause I'm on the right too. Yeah, it's all good.
That was funny.
What's a mainstream conservative that
See, I wouldn't even throw myself in
shit?
right though, even though I do tend to lean a little bit more right.
Yeah, I lean right, and I think you do too. But I'm not. I
I
wouldn't.
don't support Israel.
Right.
Yeah, I don't support
Oh, yeah, 'cause he's fine.
Like, I can't speak on American issues or whatever, but I would say Piaf Podovar in our country is like a mainstream, like someone who I would agree with rather than not. But that's just Canadian issues. I don't have an American.
Okay.
I don't like any of the politicians. None of them.
You don't
I
like
any
any?
of them.
There's no conservative politician that you like?
No, I don't like many Democrat politicians. I don't like many of the politicians either. I like commentary more than I like these politicians. These politicians are sellouts. They all are on both sides. They're terrible. Like, I don't like your big wigs like the Trump, the Bush, the
Obama.
Cruz, DeSantis.
Or Trump.
Okay, what don't you like about
You can't
DeSantis?
lie, bro.
I'm interested in that because there's
And who? Which one?
DeSantis. There's a lot of conservatives that don't like DeSantis.
Yeah, I'm not for DeSantis has odd policies. DeSantis did some weird shit with history books and children, some shit about race. I was like, if you look into it, it's
Are you talking
completely
about the
unnecessary.
slaves?
There was- yeah,
benefiting?
yeah. It's I don't even understand why the fuck he was messing around with any of that shit anyways. What the fuck were they even doing? I think it's identity politics. I think he's trying to pander. I think he's trying to, this is gonna sound terrible, I think he's trying to play into racism. And I think it backfired on him, and a lot of people looked at him and were like, wait a second, why is this being put in? What are you doing? Why are you changing anything right now? What is going on? And then they're banning a ton of books and shit. They're passing strange legislation. You're saying you can't even say that you're gay as a child in school. That's weird to me, bro. Like what? For what?
Hold on. Let her finish. Let her finish.
Like for what? Why does it matter if I'm gay and I go to high school and I can't tell my friend I'm gay? The fuck? It comes back to minding our business again.
Okay.
This is all fundamentally minding our own business.
Okay. So hold on, Brock. Let's make this productive.
thing.
Let's make this productive. So
Olivia, would you be under the same thing if you did homophobic
I
kids?
really want to mute you so bad right now. You're asking unnecessary questions. No, seriously. This falls in line with the topic that we're talking about right now. The next question you should ask her is, does she realize I will say a good 50% of what you said was just nothing but propaganda?
Is it propaganda?
I was generous. I gave 50% because you did put some truth in there. And there are things we clearly agreed on. One of the points you brought up, which is slavery was a benefit to the Africans who came over. I don't agree with
that's
that.
a crazy one.
But
Yeah, that's
but
crazy.
where I have to speak up on facts is there is no bill that exists that is barring anyone from saying they're gay. That's what
I
the
think that
Democrats
I think
named
he
it.
brought it up, and I think it never passed, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
I don't know if it passed. I think it went before, and it just never. I think it's like
See,
I know it starts with HB.
She
I don't know
doesn't
the
even
fucking
recognize
number.
what she's doing.
But I don't know if
I'm
it
telling her it's
passed. I'm pretty
propaganda.
sure it didn't pass.
It's crazy.
There was
Both sides do the same thing, y'all.
There's a couple other ones I just can't think of. I'll have to go Google it, to be honest.
Hey, we on the TV. Let's go.
Yay, that's cool.
Hey,
I'm Canadian. So I have nothing to do with this. I am Canadian.
We on TV, everybody.
Who's the asshole with the Drippler profile?
This is exactly what the recording needs to look like.
He said, "Who's the asshole?"
Fucking disgusting.
Olivia, I told y'all about 30 minutes ago she's doing this. You just getting the clue?
No, I don't mind being recorded. I'm good. I don't mind being
Did anybody like? Can I ask a question? Did anybody like John McCain and his policies?
No, I don't like John McCain.
No.
John
John
McCain is
McCain
an
The
establishment
only reason I like John McCain
Republican.
because of his vice president.
Did y'all know that Democrats like John
There's a
McCain?
bunch of-
They
Fuck
love
up
John
stories about
McCain
John
because
McCain.
he's establishment.
And y'all know that?
I
They
thought he
love
was a
him.
war hero. That's why they liked him.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
been propagated as a war hero.
Allegedly.
There's a difference.
Allegedly.
I thought he really was, though. I thought
There's
he
a
was
lot of
like
Vietnam
service.
vets that
He's
say
a
that he
fake
actually
ass
sold out
war hero.
Americans.
Yes, listen,
Oh shit!
I said
Oh
it.
shit!
I sure did.
I
Thank
said
you.
it
Other
too.
people in the chat said it. He's a fake war hero.
I've
Tell
worked
me,
with Vietnam
Z.
vets who said the same thing about John McCain.
Talk to me. Talk to me, Stacey.
Go ahead, Nico.
Okay, Stacey.
You got the flow.
They basically got caught, and he sold out Americans. Like gave them information, like where they were positioned, and it got a lot of Americans killed. And he never got in trouble for it because he comes from like a fucking established family, like the Bushes.
Well, shit.
He gave out the information. He snitched on his people.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
I'm trying to think of mainstream conservatives I like, but Americans.
I mean,
See?
even the whole Vietnam thing was a fucking mess. The Gulf of
Propaganda.
Tonkin, that was a false
Propaganda.
flag attack that got us 50,000 Americans killed, a whole bunch of fucking Vietnamese people killed. Not to
Yeah.
mention like all the
That's
fucking
fucked
people
up.
got fucked up with the shrapnel and the Agent Orange.
Nico,
Yeah,
I
no,
told you that I got a Vietnam vet staying with me right now, bro. Didn't I tell you? He's a two,
Yeah,
you
that
get
was
two
for Korean,
tours in God, bro.
Korean vets, like the whole Korean thing. I think that's like a Chinese
grandfather's a
CIA
Korean vet.
proxy to keep the U.S. and like South Korea like indefinitely.
That's fucked up.
Chill.
Is there like an American conservative politician that's kind of in the middle-ish? I can't find that.
I like Rand Paul.
If Rand Paul and his
He-
father, they're
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're based.
I've heard people.
Where's
talk
the
about
stream,
Rand
by the way?
Paul And appreciating Rand Paul before. I've heard that. Yeah.
Rand Paul was actually
People
the
are
one
fans of.
who called out.
Okay, yeah, Rand Paul.
Rand Paul was the one who called out Israel creating Hamas, the first one to do our government, because nobody else.
Rand Paul. Rand Paul is a bipartisan
Paul
guy,
Ryan.
but both people do like.
I think he's sketchy. His father was better.
Yeah,
His father.
I
My
was gonna
bad.
say
His
that
father
too,
said
Josh.
it. My bad.
Yeah.
Why is this
Nah,
sketchy?
Rand. His son is a flip flopper. Like he
Yep.
flip flops on certain things.
Hey,
I will
Sue,
be
what do you
honest.
think of Jim Jones?
I'm sorry. What?
What do you think of Jim Jones?
Jim Jones.
We fly high, no lie. We
Kool-Aid
ballin',
guy?
Jim Jones. You know this.
Like,
No, he's the he may be the new house.
Jim
House
Jordan. Jim Jordan.
Sorry, yeah, Jim Jordan. Sorry, my bad,
yeah,
Jim Jordan.
Jim Jones is a Kool-Aid man, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I mean,
That's what I thought.
I don't mind Jim Jordan. I don't mind. And Chris put on the song. Oh my god.
Went for the high.
I mean, that's right where me and Sunni went. Jim Jones, we fly high. I mean,
I still remember. I remember the nightmare I had because of that.
Oh god, are we
Jim Jones.
gonna have is a Marxist gonna come in here and fuck
Let's
this shit up?
go.
Tag him.
Yeah.
Let's go. Come in. I would love to hear him of all people call out propaganda.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
His
I'm gonna get
master,
Dan in
it
here.
was the
Don't worry.
master
I'll
of
get Dan in.
masters who followed the masters of propaganda, which is Joseph Goebbels, the Nazis. But I digress. What do I know?
Ooh. There's some strong talking points.
And if y'all are on YouTube, please follow Sue. She needs all followers. Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate you,
with the
Barack.
plug.
Thank you for
I
paying
put the
attention and
plug.
watching us. We're gonna be
Barack dropping the plug. Let's go.
I'm Nico. I don't say anything original.
Barack, say you know.
I'm gonna write you a script real quick, Barack. You say it, okay?
You don't have to. You just did.
You know,
This is hilarious.
But y'all people are original today, aren't you?
Let's see.
You know.
The
Come
American
on.
government
Team player.
is playing both sides of this war. I agree.
Right.
No, it's still
Boo.
echoing. I don't hear the
Barack's
echo.
not team player.
It's because I have to mute over here, and the sound is coming from the
Barack, say that in the chat in quotes. And then put on a right.
Yeah,
or
go ahead and
okay.
read it, Brock. Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Discord broadcast. Say it.
Say it, Brock. Say it. Now. Now.
Now.
Right now.
Right at the end.
Barack.
Thank you for
Matthew.
tuning into the Saturday Discord broadcast.
Fucking Nico.
What are you making? A fucking like what are you making, Brock?
He's making margaritas. I know that
Yeah,
sounds
he
like
over there making drinks.
that Jim Jones Kool-Aid.
Margarita home.
He said that Jim Jones Kool-Aid.
The Jim Jones Kool-Aid. Don't do it,
You know
Barack.
Jim Jones, don't you?
Okay, so
Yeah,
let's
Jim
do
Jones,
something
don't you?
entertaining. Ginger is probably the most, I'm gonna be honest, far-fetched with her thoughts on women and men. I kind of want to talk about that, even though it's a dead
Ooh.
topic. We can have fun with it Because gender's like Justin. They go to crazy lengths to prove their point.
Send smart.
Send smart. I wish she would come in here. Oh, she's muted though. She might be busy.
Here, I'm here.
Okay,
Crazy
can we
here.
talk about the women? Now, you had brought this up to me months ago. I never forget because I told you I wanted to have you on. You had brought up women being protectors of society once upon a time. And you had showed me a study. It was like a study. I can't remember what. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the Native American study where the women are buried with.
There we go.
It wasn't Native American.
Can we
It was
bring
there was
that
a
back?
bunch of natives.
Yeah, I love that study.
Yeah, there were a bunch of different, and I don't know about it being they were protectors. I think it was that they were also hunters.
Yeah.
And that men often stayed home and the women would go hunt.
Really?
Well, the reason we know this is because back then, when around this time, people were buried with their like weapons and things that they wanted to take to the afterlife with them. And while they were doing excavations of different sites, they found women buried with things like spears and like cutting tools and things that were typically associated with men that had been buried with women. That would give the idea that they were some kind of, hunter or protector in some way too.
Could it be potentially the men of these women giving them like parting gifts to take to the afterlife? Does it necessarily mean that they were the hunters?
Boom. I was gonna ask that.
From what I understand, from what I read, no.
Yeah, according to the study, they said that because there were men and women amongst these burials and they all had like same things, and then there were separate graves of other men and women who were buried with different things like clay pots, and there was clay pots, and there was like utensils for like cooking and shit. So like some men and women did cooking and like crop yielding and like mixing and like what we would typically call womanly duties. And some men and women hunted and provided food that we would deem back then to be manly duties. But yeah, it's actually an interesting study. They found all this cool artifacts.
Y'all gotta drop that in the chat so we can discuss it because I think
we got it somewhere, Ginger, don't we?
Josh
Yeah,
added
yeah,
some
yeah.
like completely necessary nuance to the discussion, and I think he asked a good question.
You also could have
we put it
you
somewhere.
also could have small little tribes where there were no women left, right? And the women were forced to hunt. Where there were no men left, so the women may have been
This wasn't the
forced to
case
hunt.
on that one. They just
Gotcha.
what they did in this tribe specifically. They just let whoever was best at whatever keep pushing because they let their children participate in all the activities. So if you were a good female hunter, you just went out hunting no matter regardless of your sex. If you could kill something, you can go out there and kill something. You know what I'm saying? If you were better at the crops, you would stay in the crib. You know what I'm saying?
Something. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Oh my god.
Okay, I found one from the Smithsonian.
These are the same people believing not dinosaurs. Get that right.
Oh Lord, please don't give me a headache.
The same people that what?
Never mind.
Like, you say the weirdest shit. Just like
I said this is the same people, Ginger, that believe in dinosaurs.
dinosaurs were real, Barack. Let's stay on topic.
I mean, but hold on. Historically speaking, like I don't think there've ever been like a huge, like a massive all women army. Like if there were maybe a few soldiers, but like I would say for the most part they were
I
men.
think there were.
I got a source on that too. So I'll go with the most current one. There is a Turkish army that is all female. I think it's got like 25,000 soldiers, if I'm not mistaken. They've been engaged in combat, protecting a certain border or two for, I think, about the past 25 years. If I'm not mistaken, they've been very successful. They've caught a lot of bodies. Now, there's ancient ones too that I can reference. I'll like I said, let me get in the garage. I'm getting my Bud Light, but let me get in here and I'll put some sources in the chat for these women. All soldier, but
Yeah,
the
I
most
wouldn't say
recent
modern
is
times
the
because obviously
Turkish
modern
soldier.
times we have women, Israel,
Yeah,
U.S.
I've got some ancient texts as well, and then I've got a lot of women. They're not all women armies, but they are mixed armies led by women. I've got a couple examples of those. Hold on. Let me grab it.
Let me grab it.
Ginger, do we still have that sources server of ours?
Hey, you guys.
I
gotta. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ginger.
Where's the sources server?
I in the chat for the women hunters thing, and then I'm about to post another one about the female army.
Yeah,
Y'all know
yeah,
there's a
I've got
study that shows that kings and
We got-
queens, that
real quick,
queens
y'all.
would go to war.
I got a
than
buddy
men would.
coming through. His name is Billy Prempe. He's actually running for Congress again. Pretty big name. All right. So in these are my work friends, and we are streaming
So we
to
gotta
YouTube.
behave.
So y'all
We gotta
can say
behave.
no. Be yourselves, but just understand where we are. That's all I'm
Yeah.
asking. That's
So what's his name?
Billy Prempe. Billy Prempe.
Yeah, I'm gonna add a little caveat on that. Like she said, be yourself, but it will be one and done if she's bringing a work person here. So like, be yourself. You will be asked one time. If you get out of line, you do it again, and that's out.
What's one and done?
El Presidente has spoken.
One and done is what
you
I am
threatening
putting forward.
me,
boss.
Cass?
No, this is a promise. I don't make threats. I set terms. I don't make negotiations.
That's mean. You're so
No, it's
rude.
honest. But no,
Why
it's
is it
not.
honest? Don't ever ban me.
It's not a threat. It's not a threat. But if Sunni's gonna bring a work friend here, we're not gonna have any stupid shit. But like the people in the chat
No,
here
I
are
looked
fine.
into him.
I just actually looked at the chat. I don't even have to give a warning. Everybody here is fine.
Yeah, you're so mean.
Yo, I am honest. I am direct, and I speak in explicit.
Be mean more. I like it. Be mean more. I like it.
Now, Olivia, there's a study between king and queens, like men and women, and they were showing
about going to
who would
war.
cause
Yeah.
more. And it showed
I mean, by the way, before we continue, I just want to say that this is a great conversation because I actually feel like men and women need to have like a more like innovative, collaborative way to actually come together instead of being so divided. Anyways, let's continue.
The homie
yeah,
mother's
I'll send it to you in a little bit, Olivia.
Okay, so there's some other
He's already joined the server. I don't know how. You may not know how to get into the BC.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sure he can figure
He's
it out.
already
Not
joined the
everyone's
server,
exposed.
but he may not know how to get to the BC soon. That's what I'm just saying.
Oh, he's gonna watch first.
As
He's
you
gonna be like,
out.
let me see what they talk about first.
So there's this woman. You can look her up. She's
Oh, my boy Caleb came back. Let's go. Good conversation is about to happen.
Hey, look. This man here is smart.
Hey, what up, Caleb? Kamusta?
Yeah, but he does believe that we went to the moon, so I don't know about that. But
Good one. Good one.
You know.
We definitely
You know
did.
what I heard the other day though? I heard that the moon was paper the other day. I heard that in different space. It's paper.
That's not
Pretty soon
paper.
we're going to hear Barack saying, yeah, well, what about the jab, right?
Oh, my goodness. You know?
oh, damn, it's right done there.
All right, Caleb.
I
So
mean-
I decided I wanted
Okay,
to
go
have the famous man and female talk, but in a very mature way. Because most of the time we look at these conversations, it's just men and women bashing each other, which doesn't need to be done. So Ginger and Olivia have shared some information about an all-female army who fought colonizers. I just see the BBC link. I don't see anything to source what the BBC is talking about. So maybe you can provide that.
All right, let me look a little more.
This is just someone's account of what it is. But they also brought up the fact that some of these female warriors were
Are you
dug
talking
up
about
from
the
their
homies
graves.
in Africa?
I don't know. All I know is that
I
they were
can't
dug
give
up
you
with their
this one on the
weapons. I'll
term.
let
Didn't
them
they also
explain it. They'll explain
sell
it better than I
slaves to
will.
Europeans, like African? They enslaved other Africans too, right? The homie,
Yeah, I don't.
Benin
Which
tribes.
one?
Yeah, they know.
It depends who you're talking about. If you're talking about the homie in Africa, yeah.
Yeah, the homie in Africa.
Okay, so wait, what are we talking about? Hold on.
Find your place to find your
Yeah, you're far away, bro. Please shut up.
stuff to see what's
Who is he talking to?
I don't fucking know.
Is it a ghost?
It's real doll.
I think my best bet will be looking.
It's a ghost.
It's his doll.
It's this doll.
He's probably on the phone and didn't even know he's not muted.
Barack. I'm gonna mute you, you fucker. I'm gonna mute you. Mute. Jesus. Okay. So what's happening?
There's more on that track.
We're
There's a
talking
different,
about
there's a
Talking about
different
the
one
warriors.
too. There's a different one. This one's in Africa.
That one we know about. That actually happened.
This one, the one in South America. Hold on one second.
So wait, are we not proving that female tribes existed where they hunted and gathered?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're
Is this not?
hunters
There's
also
one right
talking
there.
about an all-female
There's one right there.
army. There was also an all-female army that existed.
There's always.
I believe
been
both
females
men
in
and
the
women were
military.
hunters and gatherers.
Well, yeah, indigenous people.
they were.
Indigenous people have had all female or like female and male hunters and gatherers. Females usually stuck to medicine and like gathering, but if they had to go into their prospective spots, if there was not enough males, they would do it. I don't understand what is the argument. What's the argument?
I think Sunni didn't. I think Sunni
This
didn't
one.
necessarily believe that was true.
Well, it's
There's
true,
this
but
one right here. Hold on.
the females usually did medicine and they did hunting and gathering. But if they had to, they would join in with the males to do like a lot of like hunting.
Here it is. This one is another one. The
If they had to.
burial fierce female.
No, yeah, if they had to, of course. There was never. I don't think there was ever like an all female. I don't think there was ever an all female battle like battalion who did
Yeah, there
that. I
was.
don't think.
There was an army of
Makes
female
sense, yeah.
warriors. It was in Africa.
Mhm.
Oh, in Africa, okay. I'm talking about indigenous. Is all I know. I don't
That
know
would
about
make me
Africa.
question their men.
There's
Why?
these in Peru.
What was wrong with the men? Something had to be wrong.
The men probably.
Maybe they were having gay sex and got AIDS. Who knows?
The men,
That's a good point.
The men
That's a good
probably
point.
set a full female regiment. Is probably what happened.
There's more.
Well, whatever it was,
this
they were
one's-
successful.
Oh, they were.
I mean, well, yeah, for sure. Like the females were definitely successful in like hunting animals.
Females,
That's
females
cool.
No, I'm
are-
talking about the
females are
female
number
army.
one. Y'all are fast. Y'all are agile as fuck. Y'all can be strong. Women warriors can be scary.
Yeah, I was talking about the all-female army. They were very successful in protecting their tribe.
Okay, do these
Imagine a military was all female.
Do these women represent like anything in the majority?
Well, no, but we're talking about back in the day.
No. These are ancient times where the gender roles that we adhere to now weren't as tight. I'll say.
I guess
they
I'm
didn't really
just
look at it that way. They looked at surviving. You know what I
on
mean?
How we know exactly how these people live their lives. That's the confusing part for me.
They
That's
can
where I
only.
get off
Well,
the
they
train.
don't do exactly. Well, it's not. It's not an exact. You know, we can only make educated guesses based on what we find of their remnants, right? Like when we dig up their shit and we find that they was using clay pots and they built shit that looked like forks and they had, you know, they made their own knives and their own arrows and we found them with big bones and shit of their kills and stuff like that. We found like remnants of their homes. We could put together an educated guess on.
I don't know
on
if
what
the
we see
YouTube,
and guess that shit.
The YouTube community has ever seen Prey, but I mean, she beat a predator, so.
Yeah, Prey was good.
Fucking around.
Prey was
He's just fucking around.
Prey was good.
I already answered your question.
But yeah, I mean, listen. Back in the day, they were worried about surviving, getting enough food to feed everybody so they didn't starve. It wasn't about women stay here, men go here. Well, you know, as much as we think.
I mean, if you were a good warrior.
The homie were an abnormality. I mean, even back there, even back in most of those Western African tribes, again, that they were practically one of a kind. The idea that all female military forces were commonplace and that gender roles are what caused that to not happen anymore. Not.
There's actually right now in Norway. Right now in Norway, there's an all-women special forces unit.
How many all female military forces are there out there in present day society?
Isn't there some in Israel?
Care how many
aren't like women like aren't women in Israel like forced to do the military in Israel?
Yeah, the Turkish led army.
The majority of the combat facing IDF is male.
Okay, but aren't women forced to go to the military or participate in the military in Israel?
Hold on, I can't hear like three people talking.
No, I'm asking you, aren't the women in Israel forced to do the military? Whatever role they have in the military, aren't they forced?
Yeah, there's a big difference between supporting the military and like
but they're in the military.
Leading in combat roles in the military.
But aren't there women in Israel that lead combat military?
Absolutely. But they are far from the majority when it comes to the people who are on the ground in conflicts like we're seeing today.
Okay, but can I ask you that all the women in Israel are forced to participate in the military? Whether
like
it be combat
like everyone else is.
No, not in the US.
No, like everyone else is within Israel is what I'm talking about. Majority of the women,
the military.
The majority of the women who serve in the IDF lead in predominantly support level roles. So it is not common.
Part of the military.
Well, it's not common. What I'm getting at is it's not common to find a large presence of women in combat-oriented roles within the Israeli Defense Force.
Yeah, but my point is that all women in Israel are forced to become a part of the military. They have to do some military service.
Okay, so are you arguing that
women are capable?
Well, I'm just curious. Are you arguing that, like, just by extension of someone being in the military, that you equate that to warriors and people who serve in combat?
Well, I think that everyone in the military has an important role to play, whether it be combat.
No, absolutely. Yeah, support roles are important, but they serve in different capacities. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but everybody has an important role to play.
Yes.
So
and when it comes down,
is the goal egalitarianism?
I mean, what do you consider egalitarianism? Like, do you consider like front row, like special officers, like going in the front line?
Egalitarianism is just all people are equal and deserve equal rights and equal opportunity.
Okay, so then you consider that support roles and then like front line roles are the same.
Why can't you just answer my question? Is the goal egalitarianism?
But I have to understand what you consider equal.
Excuse me?
I have to understand what you consider equal.
Well, you're proposing that men and women serve in equal capacities because you're bringing up women that have warded off colonizers, or they're buried with certain things. They're warriors. So then you are under the thought pattern that we're all equal. So
well, no, I never said that with like in terms of like indigenous people. I was talking about
what is indigenous people?
Real military.
What?
Well, hold on, wait.
I wasn't talking about like that's a.
When there are warriors means that we're all equal. I think that if we're having common sense discussions here, like there are things that we're all good at, and things that where we shine in other places and other places don't. Like there's things that men are good at and things that are women are the best at, like, you know, vice versa. For being honest, but that doesn't mean that we both can't be soldiers. I think women
So
can be
are we all equal?
in our own ways. Yeah, I think we are. I believe we are. Yeah. Like, okay, for example, right? Me and you are both women, right? But you might be good at X and I might be good at Y. It doesn't mean we're not both very capable women and you know, are by all means equals. That doesn't mean that we aren't. And like same shoe with Caleb. Caleb could be good at this, I could be good at that. It doesn't mean that we're not equals. We are. I think we're all equal. I really do. I think we are all capable of great things and terrible things. It's about the willpower and the choice of what to do with your life and how you lead it.
So I'm curious. If we're all equal, right? Looking at, I'll give America as an example. Why was it that until, you know, a large social shift in the military with an increasing number of more progressive, gender-oriented leaders and whatnot, until recently, women did not serve in combat roles, could not serve in combat roles throughout the military. And looking at the demographics of teams like the Green Beret, looking at demographics of Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, you know, like elite fighting forces recognized throughout the world, a common denominator that you see there is that there are no women.
Well, when we're talking about those guys, we're talking about our elite forces, right? Like our most physically fit, and like common sense tells us that men can, of course, be in better shape than us and be stronger than us. Y'all got more muscle mass than we do.
Well, even in the infantry,
that's just a common factor, though. But like,
but even in the not even the elite force. I'm talking
And
too,
there's
like
a lot of men that can't even make those.
if we well, what I'm getting at is expanding. So the majority of the infantry in America.
Well, you said Green
are
Beret
male.
and the
Are male.
SEALs and shit. You were talking about
Yeah,
elite
I mean,
forces. But if we want to talk about basic infantry,
as examples, and I expanded upon it. So all of those fall within different groups throughout the infantry. So what I'm getting at is, okay, the majority of the soldiers and military service members throughout this country who serve in combat MOSs on the infantry who are getting deployed to combat zones are majority male. Why do you not see, I mean, because combat roles have been open to women now, why do you not see a shift towards women more in those roles? If you're saying that, you know, we're all equal, that's what you just mentioned.
well, I'll attribute it to there's not a lot of women enlisting versus men. The enlistment rate for males is higher than women. It's going to be like that for a while.
Why is that the case, though?
Those numbers aren't going to increase overnight.
No,
at all.
sure, but I mean, women have been allowed to enter the military long before there was even a shift to women going to combat roles.
And
so the shift to
This is what I'm saying.
enter with lower standards too?
Care of lives.
What's that?
Hold on.
Is there?
I was gonna ask, do they have lower standards?
Oh, yeah, hold on. There's like 3 people talking.
Oh, I just want to ask if the standards for women passing like basic training was lower than men.
Yeah,
like the standards were they lower for men?
So the physical training standards for women are much lower than they are for men.
Yes.
The scales
but that's
just
the
by
physical
that alone, we're not equal then, right?
Well, no,
Well,
here's
we're
the
not
thing
equal,
with
but
that,
we're-
right? Our physical capability is not the same as yours, but my physical capability can still get a job done. You know what I'm saying?
What I'm
although
asking
I may not be as strong as you, I'm still fully capable of saving another person in combat or things of that nature.
What
I'm asking you is, like, what do you consider?
So I'm curious. Should we not want everybody who is, you know, enlisting in our military to be able to meet one singular standard to prove that they all are capable of, when shit hits the fan, when people need to be deployed and people are on the ground, should there not just be one standard across the board?
Yeah.
Why would there be? Why would there be
Absolutely,
different
one
physical
standard. Facts.
I mean, it's the same thing even for the elite, even for these elite teams, throughout the special operations squadrons and stuff like that. I'm going to point those out too. People talk, it like everybody was raving about, some of these women who went through Ranger training. And when they actually broke it down and looked at the physical standards, they drastically lowered the standards compared to what they were imposing upon men. So, I mean, that's elite teams, though. Why would you lower the standards?
Are you saying that like people who go in like front row combat are better than the people who stand behind and do support?
Did I say that?
No, I'm asking you.
Well, so originally the topic was brought up that you brought up the existence of the Dahomey, right? An all-female group of warriors who.
Well, not me.
Or
yeah, that
whoever. When I came into the conversation, it was brought up. Okay, so what I'm saying is I'm addressing it, right? So people are talking about that, and I'm bringing up the fact that yeah, sure, they existed. No one's disputing that. But what I'm getting at is that doesn't change the fact that looking at our modern day military, women even back during times of the Civil War were in largely support oriented roles. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's important to let's not make shit up. Let's be 100% clear about what the majority of women are doing.
Well, we can
military.
operate within the reality because we know the stats, right? We can clearly see because the military reports on what females are doing inside the military. So we can look at it, right? Sure. We can pull up that statistic stuff and look at what jobs they're holding, what they're doing, and let's be realistic, right? When we say when I just said I believe we're all equal, but we have differences, that's exactly what I mean. I know that Birdman would be a better soldier than me, but that doesn't mean I can't be a good soldier. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean I can't to contribute to an army, right? These are just hypotheticals. I'm not saying that I would be a good soldier. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what
I'm
you're
just saying. It's a hypothetical, but you know what I mean? Just because my extensive thing, I could be a fantastic medic and Birdman couldn't do that, right? I could be a fantastic mechanic and Birdman couldn't do that. Or he could be an excellent sniper and I wouldn't be able to be capable of that. Vice versa.
So combat
what
medics,
I'm great at doesn't, and what you're great at doesn't undermine either one of our greatnesses. But it does. I don't think so.
No, it absolutely
undermines it.
So when a majority of the people who are serving in, again, combat-oriented MOS, because you just threw out combat medic. Oh, well, I could be, a great combat medic versus Birdman couldn't. All right, combat medics, people who serve in combat-oriented MOSs still continue to this day to be majority male-oriented. What I'm getting at is you're saying, well, it's who's to say just because, me and Birdman aren't at the same level, that doesn't mean I can't do a good job still. The point is that there should be one standard. This idea that, well, even though I don't do as good of a job as Birdman would, again, as a hypothetical, you're missing the point. We should want the people who are going to be serving in our military to be some of the most elite soldiers, elite sailors, elite Marines to go out, deploy, and engage and destroy the enemies of the United States of America. That's the reality. And, this idea that, hey, everybody is equal, everyone gets a participation trophy is bullshit. It's either you meet the standard or you don't.
It's not about the participation trophy. It's about all parts of the whole contribute to the whole, right? So just because
some more than
somebody's
others,
contributing, well, okay, that's fine. But who is defining this some more than others? Let's stick with the military because this is a great example, right? If you don't have logistics, if you don't have people manufacturing this and pushing that, then soldiers can't adequately get their shit on the front line, who have to make the shots. This is strategic, like this is empirical that all these people must work together and have these jobs. There is no such thing as a wasted job like that in a setting like that when you're talking about American lives, you know?
Hold on, why can men do those jobs better too?
Well, I'm not saying that they can't do them better or worse. I'm just saying that there's room for everybody. In an ideal world, we would have more members of the military. I don't see why we would deny anybody an opportunity if they can pass personal fitness tests and
they don't
PT tests.
But they don't.
Like
they don't pass.
But that is that's the whole argument. They're not.
Some women do pass.
So females. Okay, so just go. Let's go back. Let's look in history, right? Until recently, until the changes in the standards were broken out, where originally it used to be job related. Your MOS, if it was a heavy, moderate, or light MOS, would determine what your physical standards were going to be and what it was going to be required. And then they realized that women who were joining, even in support-oriented roles, could not pass and meet the physical fitness standards in order to assess into the military. They went and broke out the PT standards into female and male PT standards. And if you look at the female PT scale, it has been dramatically lowered. So the reality is, it's not like, oh, they're off by a few points to compare to what men are. No, it's this bullshit. They have to completely change how the military was looking at what it would take for someone to join the military, for someone to be able to be capable of engaging in combat. Because let's be clear here, right? The reason why I give so much shit about this is because even these support level MOSs, at the end of the day, if shit hit the fan and we needed to be able to deploy ground forces,
they have to as well. Yeah,
they need to be able to do the same shit that any. Yes, they're trained
in the medic stuff. They're trained to do.
They're trained in it. Yes, they're trained in it, but they meet much lower standards. Is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
So if everyone is equal, right, in this world where everyone is equal, and that's the idea that we're going with, then the standard should be the same regardless.
Once again,
just because
gender.
you're gonna,
I'm just.
Ginger, that was the dumbest
I'm
comment
just
I've
like,
ever heard.
you're negating facts, bro. You're saying women don't join because they're very likely to be raped. Come on, let's get real. They're lowering the standards.
Wait, do you think that's not true? Do you think that's not true?
You're bringing up a concept that is like not the norm for most women when they come in, bro. Like, stop.
The male rape statistic is higher in the military.
Come on, bro.
It really is.
But either way, even if that
You're
was
moving the
true,
goalposts
you
now, 'cause
couldn't,
we
you
weren't
couldn't
talking
say that
about
that's
male
the
rapes.
reason they aren't joining.
Would you want to join something where you were
Oh
likely
my
to be
God,
raped?
bro.
okay.
This is just an emotional plea.
So where are the stats on this? Where's the survey
We
that was?
don't even need stats. We don't need stats.
That asked every woman, hey, sorry you didn't meet the standards, but why didn't you want to join the military? Is rape? Is that what you're going with? That's the leading cause of why women don't join the military?
No, I said maybe that's part of the reason. Like,
but why would you throw it out if you don't have like any sort of collateral to back that up?
So there's not plumbers or carpenters as well.
I don't know, man. That triggered me.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
egalitarianism as a whole could never ever work, right? Because you're going to need an enforcement arm, because you're going to have laws in the society, and who's going to enforce the laws? If some guy decides to essay a woman, are you going to how are you going to have an enforcement arm? You're going to have like a 6'5" guy that just did this horrible thing to a woman, and you're going to send in a bunch of 5-foot women to arrest this dude?
so in 2011, a report found that U.S. women in the military were more likely to be raped by fellow soldiers than they were to be killed in combat.
so again, how does that address what you just said?
It doesn't.
Oh no,
You just
them
said
being
that
raped,
women.
them
You
being
just
more
said-
likely to be raped. Yeah, because that doesn't have anything to do with the statistics that a ton of women are raped in the military. Got it.
You just okay. Go ahead.
Emotional
and
pleas
put words
don't
in my
work
mouth.
here. We
You-
deal in reality. The issue is a study was found that women and older troops are more likely to fail the Army's gender neutral physical test. A study found it. Come on.
That is the reality. There is no. You bring up, yes, it is a statistic, but it lacks context. You have not found a way to directly correlate.
You need.
Are you gonna let me finish, and so I can give you the context? So how are you correlating that to why women are not joining the military? Because when you look, right, I mean, are you looking at the studies of women who are coming out of high school and who are more likely to want to engage in getting a college education and then going into a field like nursing, going into a field like teaching, going into a field to become doctors, surgeons, things like that? I mean, so what's your, I'm curious, are we just
going to... the only reason? I didn't say it was the only reason. There are a lot of
the number one reason.
I didn't say it was the only reason.
Can I finish now? Can I finish now?
Go ahead.
There are many reasons women might not join the military. Maybe they have kids. Maybe they aren't physically able to do it. Maybe they would like to go to college and work in one of the fields that you said.
But you brought up none of those. You brought up rape. But you brought up rape.
Yeah. You went to the emotional plea right off the bat. You didn't bring up any of that other stuff. The main reason would be that they're incapable of doing the tasks required in the military.
Bingo. I just posted a link showing that women are better shots than men.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
There's no woman.
There's
no woman in military history that's ever gotten any award, ribbon, or anything for their shooting. No, they're not.
Well, the NRA must be lying then. I don't know.
Yeah,
they are. The NRA doesn't talk. Hold on. The NRA doesn't talk about the military specifically.
So what goal?
Like this has nothing to do with your claim.
Have to lie? What
do you mean? I'm not even. Let's say they're telling you the truth right now, Ginger. Let's say that's true. Okay, what does that have to do with the military?
Like they reduce what you have to do, the physical things you have to do to get in the military. You don't think that it would be a good thing?
No, she still has to carry the gun. She has to carry the gun there. You think she's going to carry a 50 cal on her back?
To carry the gun.
So
she's going to need two men to carry her equipment for her.
So
because all women are weak. It's a terrible thing. Sure.
I mean, when a majority of women are being released from the army due to being incapable of meeting the physical fitness standards, that would be a kind of a way to link that, to attribute that. I mean,
hey, Ginger,
so just for some context, right? The only female to ever pass U.S. Army Sniper School, which again at reduced standards was a guard soldier, someone who is not even on the front lines, is serving at a state level, is not in the active duty force, and is not out in the fleet. And so what I'm getting at is it is very rare and uncommon to find a woman who is capable of meeting the standards, which even in that case, she didn't. She met them at reduced standards that Army leadership imposed to allow women to achieve the same thing that men have at lower standards when there's a higher standard
for that?
On men.
Do you have something to show me about that? Because I've never heard of that. So,
hey, but Ginger, let me ask you an easy question. If a man and a woman both got put in a hostage situation, which one do you think will break faster? The man or the woman?
I saw you ask this like 30,000 times in the comments. I don't know. I've never done research on this. I don't know.
What would you think?
What do you think, Barack? Do you have something to prove that men are less likely to break?
That would probably come down to who's got the higher threshold for pain and torture.
You brought up the example also that women have children, right? And that's why they wouldn't do it. You don't think that like military members have, like men have children? Like they still go to war?
Sure. And those children are probably at home with their mothers because mothers are the ones who want to be with their children more. And the men do it to bring in a paycheck.
There's actually a very high.
She just said what she thinks of men right there. Boom.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, I agree with her too.
The men are the breadwinners, right?
I agree.
Yeah. The men want to make money to bring home to the family, and they decide that they can go to the army, they can get an education, they can be trained to do whatever they do in the military, and they can bring home a paycheck.
And most importantly, they're capable of passing the standard.
Sure.
That's the most important part.
Why is
The
why
men-
is
the
that
Study
women
found
are
this
not.
to be true. Why are you in denial?
Well,
Wait a
I'm not
minute,
saying
pause.
it's not true.
You're in
I'm
denial.
saying
The military thought that this was a credible enough study that they lowered the standards. Women could not pass a gender neutral test. So if our military branches can acknowledge this, then why can't you?
did I just say that I don't acknowledge it? I
You
didn't
have
say
yet
that.
to acknowledge it. I'm waiting.
Women are more physically capable of
See,
going through
you
these
still won't
things.
acknowledge it. Just acknowledge it.
I just
The
did,
standard was
bro.
lowered. Why? Why was the standard lowered?
Because the women aren't as physically capable as the men to do the exact same things. I just said that.
So let's
should
weaken
those
our
people-
government.
so
Let's
women-
weaken our military so
women-
women can join.
So let me ask you. So women that can't meet those standards, they should be barred from joining the military, correct?
Absolutely.
It depends on
Yep.
what they're trying to do in the military. I
See?
mean, we need nurses in the military. There's lots of things that women can do in the military that don't
So
require them.
So question, we've already said that women, right, and this goes across all support level MOSs and AFDIs and all these different roles across the branches, are, if shit hit the fan, still going to be deployed, still be on the first line, still need to be capable of meeting the standards required of an infantry soldier, someone who is capable of deploying and engaging anywhere in the world and meeting those same combat standards as their male counterparts. They are still subject to the same level of service requirements, and yet they're getting in at a lower physical fitness standard. So wouldn't you say that women who are coming in and are able to join with a lower physical fitness skill, wouldn't you say that they are at a disadvantage? Wouldn't you say that they are actually more likely to be a liability than an asset to a combat unit?
Woman, I mean, are there statistics or studies that show that women on the field, like out in active combat, are there any studies that show they do worse than men?
Yes, because they can't meet the same physical fitness standards. Because they're not capable of meeting the same physical fitness standards. So a little bit of context. The physical fitness test that is required for all military service members across the branches is not just something that's used just to assess you to get in. It's also to check and to assess the continued readiness of our armed forces across the entire country and their
This isn't
ability.
what I asked.
No, I'm getting to it. So their ability to be deployed is what those tests are measuring. And so if someone is not meeting the same physical fitness standards, yes, by extension, they are going to do worse than people who are meeting the set standard.
Do you have evidence of this? Can you show me anything that says out in active duty and combat that women fail at their job? Do you have anything that shows this?
The fact that women can't meet the same physical fitness standard?
That doesn't mean they can't go out there and do their
Yes,
job.
it does, or else they would be out there. They would have been able to pass the test.
See, we need to straighten this out real quick. It is not, oh, well, they can do their job too. No, that's not what's on the table. It's about who can go out and effectively do the same level, commit to the same level of combat readiness as their male counterparts. And if they can't, then they don't need to join the military. That's the reality. And even again, these nurses, right? These combat medics, all of these are roles that you brought up. Okay. Combat medic, that is a heavy fitness, so it's rated for the Army. You can look it up. It's rated as heavy. A heavy physical fitness requirement is what you're supposed to be able to meet in order to be a combat medic. So, by that extension, all of these jobs that you just threw out there, nurses, same deal, heavy fitness requirement. Do you know why? The reason that is that those are roles that will still be attached to combat infantry units. And if they're not capable of meeting those same standards, then they're not capable of meeting the same standards. And they don't need to join.
Damn,
Oh,
Twitter fingers.
you're aggressive with that
Yeah,
zero.
he over there, Twitter fingers, he said. I don't think
I don't know.
there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that we are the weaker sex and we can't perform at the same level that men can perform. We just can't. It's okay. I
I'm
don't
not
understand
saying we
why
can't.
women want to compete with men. To me, it's sick. The fact that women want to compete so much with men is just ridiculous. Just
I don't
accept your
think it's
limitations
about-
as a woman. We don't
What
serve in
about
the
this?
same capacity. We just don't.
What about instead of competing, instead of it being like a competition thing, why not it be like a direct benefit thing? Like we both directly benefit from engaging with one another. Men and women both directly benefit and have pros and some cons in engaging with one another.
Right, but
we fit together.
but that's
like
not
we
the
can't
topic,
deny
though.
that we fit together and we
That's
go
not the
together so
topic,
we
though.
need each
And
other.
but
So
you're stating
we're
the
like
obvious when you
equal and
say
total
that.
opposite.
But
you know?
when you say that,
Isn't
you're
that the whole
stating the
point?
obvious. We don't exist without the other. That's an obvious. But that does
But
not
isn't
mean that
that
we're
the
equal.
point, though?
That doesn't mean we're equal.
I would say that
Yeah,
it does mean that we're equal because if there is no women tomorrow, then there is no men the next day. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. We can't survive without them. They can't survive without us. It is
That doesn't make us
inevitable.
equal.
We are inevitable to each other. I feel like that's
How
an
does that
equality
equate equal,
standard
though?
that we meet.
How does that mean equal?
It feels equal to me that it, okay.
No,
It
let's leave
feels
feelings
like
out.
it
How does
feels
that mean
balanced.
equal?
It means balance to me. It
Yeah,
does.
but why can the wait a little bit?
That's
Why
a
can the
balance.
balance just be? Why can the balance just be that men serve in the military, and then you guys serve somewhere else?
Well, women serve in the military too. Why can't we? Like, there's all kind of shit we can do.
Well, because
Fuck it.
well,
We've
it's
established
because
that
you're
there's jobs
you're
to be done.
incapable.
Well, no,
Across the
there's
board, you
jobs
guys
to
are
be done.
like typically
There's jobs
incapable.
to be done for women. Well, that's not true. There's all kind of jobs for women in the military that aren't combat. Even remove the combat shit out of it. Just say, yeah, okay, men are physically fit. There are still jobs for women in the military. There's all kind of
Remove
jobs.
the combat aspect of the military.
Truck
Why
drivers,
would
right?
we ban? Why would we ban them from all military jobs? That
Because
seems
they're not
counterproductive.
because the test that they were assessed with to determine their physical readiness is the baseline minimum
need
standard.
pushers?
No, listen, hold on. That is the minimum standard that the military has determined through studies and countless tests of what it takes to be combat ready on the battlefield. That is the baseline test. If you can't meet that test, you are incapable of serving in combat. That is literally what that test was designed to be able to determine. And they realized that they couldn't meet that baseline. So what did they do? Instead of saying, hey, sorry, you didn't make the cut, they changed the standard. Men and women have to pass still have to pass physical readiness requirements to determine their deployability across the country. They still have to do it. And it is what it is. It doesn't matter who likes it or who doesn't. That's the reality. And if we're acknowledging that they have completely nerfed the physical fitness standards for women in order to allow them to join, I don't get how you don't see the problem with that. Because you're saying, well, there's not only just combat roles. Yes, everybody acknowledges that there are support level MOS roles, but at the end of the day, everyone is a soldier, everyone is a sailor, everyone's a Marine, and everyone's an airman. And those roles, at their core, all at the end of the day, when conflicts arise, it is expected upon them that they are able to meet the requirements to engage the enemy in combat. That's the reality. When you knuckle down and you get to the root of it, they are expected to be able to deploy and engage in combat.
So did they make it a different standard for women and men, or did they just lower the overall standard for women and that also made it lower for men?
No, they lowered the standard specifically for women. They created a scale that is lower for women and maintained the same exact physical fitness scale that was currently assessed for men, the minimum standard for determining combat readiness.
Gotcha.
I think that's dangerous that they lower the standards, especially in combat and in war. I think men should go to war and women should stay home. Right, like
You could go to firefighters, policing, anything.
Yeah, why you?
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
anything, all that.
here's the thing, right? What no one's talking about is, right, there are civilian military civilians who are nurses, who are doctors, who are trauma surgeons, all kinds of stuff, and they are out on the battlefield, or they are out in zones adjacent to combat, but they are not a part of the military for a reason. They serve a different function. There is a complete difference to a Army doctor and a civilian doctor who is affiliated with the Army. One has to meet the standards because of combat readiness, and the other doesn't. So if women couldn't meet those standards, why did the military have to say, you know what, let's lower the standard for what it takes to be a soldier, a sailor, an airman, or a Marine? Why didn't they just say, hey, sorry, better luck next time? Go be a civilian contractor, go work in the Army Civilian Corps.
So what is
Why
the
can't
actual
we
argument?
admit that women are superior? Because women aren't superior. You needing recognition for what you do in nature and what your body does naturally, some women, is just narcissistic. You don't need a pat on the back for pushing a kid out your vagina. I've done it 3 times. Big whoop.
I just think men and women have different strengths. Like, we're all strong in our own way, and men are physically stronger.
That's a no-brainer, though.
Yeah,
But I don't
you
think
guys are way
women
better
are
at childbirth.
incapable of.
Like that's like praising a
means
man
women
every
are
time he
capable.
jizzes into a vagina because he's starting the process of life. Okay, you squirted in her. So what? Like, so what? Why do you need a participation trophy for birthing a child?
I mean, that's the best thing a woman can do, I think.
I
Like,
just
as far
want
as
to know
that-
why women want recognition for doing what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to do
as far
that.
as-
Why do you need a fucking
Yeah.
participation trophy?
Having children is hard.
Oh my gosh. Where?
Okay.
Like, where? I've had 3. I had to lay back and push.
Wait, on the same coin, can we be ridiculous real quick? If women are supposed to have babies, then men are supposed to go out and kill and protect shit, right? Like, on the same side of those coins.
Well, I wouldn't say that's all we're supposed to do. Yeah, protectors. Yeah, it doesn't mean we have to go and kill.
Statistically, they overwhelmingly do across the military, police, fire.
All women don't have babies. Just like all men don't protect.
She didn't
You
answer
can't-
my question though.
you
Why do you
can't-
need a trophy for doing what nature calls you to do?
Oh, I don't need a trophy for pushing out babies.
Do you agree that
I don't need
nature calls for men to die in war?
Yeah, which is
80%
why
of
you
women
guys
do
should
have
stay the
children.
fuck away from the military. We've made that point
Yeah.
several times, but you want to be a
Yeah,
part of it.
Nature calls for men to die in battle.
So
It should
nature
just
calls
say
for men to
calls-
die in war, and then you pat them on the back, but you don't pat women on the back
Because
for
that's
kids.
the ultimate sacrifice, is giving your life up for protection of your family. You're not, it's not a
But also-
sacrifice for you to do what you're supposed to do as a woman.
But women also give up
What
their
the
lives
fuck?
to have children.
Why?
And they're yours. You created them. Why do you need a pat on the back? Hold on, pause. Why do you need
I'm
a
not trying
pat
to be
on the
mean.
back for having kids that you chose to have?
No, but what I'm saying is, like, a lot of women give up their life to have kids too.
But they made the choice to do
Yeah.
that. So what?
As
Hold
the
on.
men
Hold
do
on.
made
I just want.
military.
Hold on, Kara. I want to know where you're going with that. What do you like? What are they giving up their life? Like you're saying, like they died
Well,
during
I'm saying
childbirth.
that a lot of some women do give up their life to have children, like they die to choose to have the children.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd say if the woman is if the woman's willing to die during childbirth to have a kid, yeah, that's honorable.
Exactly, and a lot of women do that. Can you acknowledge that? Can you acknowledge that?
I can't believe you're gracing this with attention right now.
But
Josh.
women are
Like,
willing
come
to
on.
But I'm just saying,
but that's
if
like-
men are like chosen to die in war and we acknowledge both sides.
But-
Acting
Why
like
can't
this
we
is the
say both
majority of
sides?
women.
It's not equal. It's not equal.
Hold on, because
Well, how
they're
is it
not equal. One is giving up their life for the freedom and safety of not only
Yeah,
their
but
own
nobody
family,
told
but
them to
the-
give up their life, though.
but the entire
Nobody
country.
told you to get
If
pregnant.
they won't do it, who else is gonna fucking do it?
Oh, I can't do this.
How about
I can't.
no? How
I
about
can't.
nobody?
I can't.
I mean, the only reason you have like rights currently is because of the military, right? That protects your rights essentially. Like that's for everybody. That's not just for their own family. That's for every citizen. So I think that like, and you're also talking about like a small minority of women who happen to die.
So what?
Yeah, it's a cycle of life. I wish we could cure death.
It's completely different than raising your right hand and recognizing that you're willing to give up your life for the safety and security of not only your
without
family,
women, you wouldn't have these soldiers to give up their life and raise their right hand.
And without man, you wouldn't have the soldiers.
This doesn't mean anything?
Like,
without women and men.
You need a man to even start the process of having a child. You wouldn't have the child without that man.
Why are you guys devaluing women bringing forth
Nobody's
life?
devaluing women, but we don't need to be put on a pedestal.
I'll land the plane. But then also in the same respect, why are we devaluing the fact that there are men that go out and protect? Because yes, women and men are physically and mentally different, but we do our each part in society to make society run as a whole.
There we go.
What?
I mean, the reason you have a society is because of men, though.
We have a society because of men.
Yeah, that's why you have a society that, like a society that actually operates properly. Yeah, that's because of men.
Men. Wait. Let's go deep into that. Why is that? Why is it because of men?
Oh, it's really simple. Because women aren't plumbers, they're not carpenters, they don't build nothing. They get jobs in like lesbian dance theory, things like that. Like they're not.
Let's go.
The entire society that you have right now, that you get to walk around into all these nice buildings and have plumbing, so you're not like cooing in buckets. That's because of men.
So, what do you propose women do for men?
Say thank you. Put a smile on your face.
Say thank you.
Quit fucking.
Okay, so
raise the kids, cook a meal without an attitude, have sex with him whenever he wants. Like, how about that? Start there.
Wait, the reason why a lot of men are in those sectors of society is purely because a lot of men drift towards those sectors of society. In the working force, we choose what we want to do, and most men generally want to do that. So should I thank every person that is a teacher, every person that is in the health industry, because predominantly those are women jobs or have been considered women jobs, because women go.
Look what that's done to society. Look at public schooling. Look at public schooling.
Let her land it. Let's see.
Go for it.
Let her land it.
No, what I'm saying is that if you want every person to thank every person in society for the contribution, then we'll be here all day. Men do something as well as women do something. There is no hierarchy of who does more. And if you're going to go hierarchy of who does more, wait. If you're going to go hierarchy of who does more, the fact that women bring forth life into this population, into society, you cannot have society without people. And women bring forth those lives.
Yeah, of course. Without people, there's no society. We get it.
You can't have rights. You can't have safety and security. You can't have fire protection. You can't have the trades that support your ability to exist within a society today without men. That's the reality. Those are men are the backbone of what holds society up. Men historically have gone out. Hold on, no, you got to land your point. Men have historically gone out, right? Have conquered, right? Taken control of land, have established civilizations, have established resources, go out and I don't see women in the fucking mines or anything like that drilling up natural resources. They're not doing that shit. That is necessary for society. Majority of men are police,
right here.
Facts. You're the minority.
That's me.
You're the minority.
Not fair.
Let's stay realistic. Y'all keep bringing up the
reality
as if they're the norm.
I know a lot of women that work in the oil field.
And y'all are a minority.
They're not even close to even a majority. They're a drop in the bucket compared to men.
Better women.
Demographics.
Okay, so did you miss where I said that oftentimes men and women will drift towards jobs? Certain jobs.
Wait. Do you think they're drifting that way?
No, wait. Men, sorry, because I heard you say that before. Didn't do it. No one else would. Women are not going out And again, serving in those combat roles that lead to protection for the country. They don't go out. Women do not go out and conquer land to be able to provide for their own country, for their people, to establish civilization. If men never did it, it never would have happened. Women do not do that shit.
How do you know that?
So
how do I know that?
History.
Hold on, wait. Someone asked me how I know that. Is that what you said?
Please answer the question.
I've seen women.
How I know that is because history tells us that. Who are the people who have come out?
Give me some peer-reviewed science articles on that.
Okay, and what in
All right,
history?
this conversation is
Peer-reviewed
digressing.
science
Like, come
Wait,
on.
in
on
history,
on people on how many women apply to be a plumber. Like we don't need science to tell us
This
that
is
they're not doing it.
digressing. Like that was stupid.
We're disputing history
in
right now.
history, where were women's place in history?
At home.
Where were the women
in
place?
support roles.
Do you
At home
prefer
with the
that?
children.
Wait, do you prefer
While
that
men
society
went
now?
out, while men went out to ensure their protection. But go ahead. What were you saying?
Protection from what though?
Other bad men.
Other men.
From
Other
other
bad men.
foreign nations, from criminal, from people who are willing to do.
Oh wow,
Other
other
men
men that
is
wanted
the
to
answer.
conquer. Like you're making his
But-
point. You need protection from other
what I was
men.
going to say is that in society, if we're going to use historical context, a lot of women weren't taught to defend themselves. A lot of women weren't taught combat type of
Were
activities.
or weren't? What were you saying?
We're
I
not.
can't hear
We're
you.
not.
Say it.
We're not.
Okay.
We're not. So, however, I do come from a culture where women were taught how to defend themselves, were in combat, were in war.
What
Oftentimes,
culture is that?
What
in
culture?
Maori.
Hold on. What culture do
I'm
you come
Maori.
from?
She's from
I'm
New
Maori.
Zealand, bro. Like, come on.
I'm Maori.
What culture do you come from?
I just said it. I'm Maori.
Caught. That's what women
Hey,
were doing.
Can I just?
I can't hear you.
Okay. Am I
What culture?
yelling?
Face.
No, there's multiple people talking. There's someone laughing. It's hard to hear.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm trying to hear.
I'm from-
You said your culture. What culture?
yeah, so I'm Māori, so I'm from New Zealand. Obviously, this wouldn't apply to Western society. So in Western society, the women were not taught any of these type of combat, anything like that to defend themselves. A lot of the times, what they were made to do was stay home in a gilded cage that had
Now
been
she's
created by
lying.
men.
Now you're lying.
I'm not.
Yeah,
How
you
am I
are.
lying?
That's the
Yeah, you
safest
are.
place. That's the safest place for you too.
Like that's insane. You're building an
Heresy.
entire narrative for no reason. Just tell the truth. Don't add
What is the
buzzwords
truth?
to your argument. We were not in cages.
Confederate heritage.
Get the fuck
I said
out of here with
gilded
that.
They taught
cage.
women how to defend themselves from the
Gilded cages.
Indians.
Wait,
Come
gilded
on,
cage.
bro.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, gilded cage, I'm not saying that as a buzzword. Typically, a lot of women weren't allowed to do a lot of things in society, in history. We all know this, right?
Oh, it wasn't that they weren't allowed to. They couldn't. Go ahead.
They didn't
They
want to
weren't.
either.
They weren't capable and they
interested.
didn't want to.
They didn't want to.
No.
Yeah,
They
some
weren't.
women probably didn't want
They
to.
still don't want to. They still
weren't
don't want to
capable.
today.
Oh, hold on. They weren't capable and they didn't want to. Those were the two.
They weren't
Big
capable.
reason.
Capable because they weren't taught, right?
No, capable because there are physical differences that allow men to excel in those jobs that women don't have.
Yeah, I would agree
It's
with that.
called
Like I
payment.
said, a lot of time men drift towards specific jobs. They choose to go into jobs. So you mentioned things like mining.
Because they have
Yes,
to.
a lot. Wait, no one has to do it unless they choose
Yeah,
to
if
go
we
and
didn't,
apply.
if we didn't do
No
it,
one-
At
no
the
one
end of the
would.
day, no one has to do any job unless they apply
Women-
to do that job.
They would
Correct?
not-
Yeah,
no one allowed to do
no one is being forced into
No
that
one
work.
else.
That is a no,
We
that
have-
is an excuse
hold
at
on.
this point.
Hold on.
No one
We're
else.
men in
You're
here
missing
saying
the
we're not
point.
forced to.
You're saying that they're not forced to, but you're missing the
You're
nuance
saying
here.
they have
Women-
to.
Women did not do those jobs historically because they were not physically capable and suitable to hold those roles. There is a reason why, until there was a large shift in social progressivism in the military, why women did not serve in combat roles, because they were incapable of meeting the same physical readiness standards. They could not perform in combat roles like men could. That is the reality. That's why men
I
are going
do
and doing
agree
it, because
with
women
this.
don't qualify, because
Wait.
women can't do it. That's why.
I didn't disagree though. I didn't
You
disagree
did.
with
You
that.
forget about
No,
the
I
women
didn't.
who ran the country while the men were at war.
I didn't disagree with that. I said men and women are
just proved
different,
my
and I did
point.
say that.
You just
don't know
proved
if
my
you
point.
understand.
That's all women's good for.
You just
Women
proved
did all these jobs that you said they don't do.
you just proved my point.
What did
You
I
just
say?
proved my point right there.
How so?
You just said that while men were where? Overseas doing what? Fighting for who? Protecting who? Serving in what roles?
When they were
While women were
drafted
doing
during
and
the
women
World
were
Wars, they were
and
drafted.
women were
Most of these men didn't even choose to do it. And women ran this fucking country while y'all were gone.
Why do you
Don't say
think
we're
that
not
they
capable of doing these jobs because
You guys didn't do shit.
Hold on. We're on YouTube. We're digressing. Please
Send me that link.
Please remove your feelings from the conversation and just have a conversation. I would ask that both sides stop speaking over each other. If there is a lag, you can say there's a lag. But we're all doing it. If we can't all take responsibility, then we can't have this conversation. Period.
Are you saying silence women?
saying to Caleb that women are capable of doing
Here we
these
go.
jobs. It's that most of the time that we don't want to. When women had to do these jobs because
You
there were
just
no
made
men
his
here
point.
to do them,
We already stated
did
that.
that.
We stated
so
that though.
Is your contention that when men were fighting overseas, that the majority of people who were serving as policemen, firemen, serving as electricians, serving as plumbers were women? Is that really what we're going with?
Can we collectively address T's statement, because this is becoming circular. I think this statement is funny. Women, or it says woman, let's thank men for their ability to choose working in mines. If that is what provides for their family, and he is willing to do that, and it's going to create a quality of living for you, then I think you should say thank you. Especially if he's willing to put his life at risk for you guys to live a comfortable life. I think the least you can do as a woman is put your dumbass pride aside and say, you know what? Thank you for choosing to go work this dangerous job so that we can have.
Wait, if it's my husband, of course I'm going to thank him.
Why certain things function.
If it's my husband, if it's my partner, my life partner that I'm going to be in a relationship with, of course I'm going to thank him for working. Of course I'm going to tell him he's, I've got him and that he's doing a great job, and that the fact that he's taken time out to provide for us. Of course, I would.
So then, why would it change when we talk about the majority of men?
If it's society level, if we're talking about a society,
what's the difference?
We're talking about. The difference is one is an interpersonal relationship where it directly affects you. The other one is like me thanking every person in society for contributing in society. That's what.
But you want men to recognize that women give birth, not you specifically, but the women.
No, what did I say? I said initially, well, you shouldn't be devaluing the fact that women bring forth life as much as.
But you're devaluing men because of an interpersonal relationship that you don't have.
No. I say we shouldn't devalue men for going out and fighting. I think both of these things should be honored.
So then what is the problem? If you can agree that they both should be honored, what are you debating?
The problem is the fact that we have these gender debates about men and women and who is superior or not. At the end of the day, both genders, I wasn't able to finish this point earlier. That's why I'm saying this. The problem is that there is this need to put each other on top of a pedestal to say which one is doing more than the other. When I did agree with you initially when you typed in the comments about egalitarianism in men and women, I agreed with your stance about that. I think we contribute to society equally, by equally, I mean in our own capacity. So we do what we can in society. So generally men drift towards more masculine or seen as masculine jobs, and women drift towards more caretaking jobs. That is just how it has always been. It is run like that because that's what we prefer to do.
Well, it's not preference. It's literally because one's better than the other at those jobs. That's all. That's what it is. It's because you're not having women going and building skyscrapers before PPE and all this stuff was around, right? Like you've seen that like hundreds of feet above the ground, and they're eating their lunch sitting on this beam. There's no women willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I wouldn't do that.
But that's how your society you live in today was built. right? It was built by brave men and strong men. It wasn't because men just happened to drift to these jobs. It's because women were incapable of doing them. And they still are today. Because we've been and what's the difference in percentage in plumbing jobs, carpentry, firefighters, policemen, like firemen, policemen, like that hasn't changed.
Yeah, I see that men tend to drift towards those areas of work. So at this point in time, everyone benefits from the fact that men did build the infrastructure of the world. But please remember, women's place in society was a little bit different to what it is now, and that's the change that has happened in the last century. So previously, women didn't have that ability to choose what they want to do. Now women do. So for instance, let's use Australia, for example. In Australia, a lot of the economics is the mines. There are a lot of women that are working in the mining industry in Australia, and that's Western Australia and Perth. They have something called FIFO, which is called fly in, fly out, and a lot of women do work in those industries. It's in these two countries between New Zealand and Australia, because that's where I can reference it. There is women in these jobs that you're speaking of now, because they have the ability to choose.
So you guys, I just looked it up. You have 16% of the mining workforce is women.
Yeah.
16%. That's nothing.
Though. I want to point that out because, like, people forget a lot of women in the workplace is administrative or clerical. It's not.
That's the other thing.
I don't know what your initial argument is. Like, should I just thank all men for, like, the men of the past for doing this because they're the only ones they're the ones that actually did it, not men today.
The point of it is that egalitarianism doesn't work. It will never work, and it cannot work.
I agree.
Yeah, women will never be equal to men.
Why do women pretend like the independent woman is bashed in society when that's all that is encouraged?
Yeah, it's propped up all the time.
Like, y'all act like society is just so against you, and that is like the farthest thing from the truth. No one asked you, hey, like, when are you going to settle down and have kids? That doesn't even bother women anymore because it's to the point where I'll have them whenever I'm ready to. But when your family asks you, what are you going to do with your life? You just raise kids. Like, that's insane. The title of a mother is not what it is, nor is not where it should be.
We got about 5 women in here. How many of you guys are in trades jobs or military? Or
No, I'm not.
Me? No, I work in insurance.
I'm the only one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not common.
No.
You guys aren't, like, even with all the push to get women into these positions.
But why don't women acknowledge that, though? Why do y'all act like society looks down on independent women?
It doesn't.
So then why do y'all constantly play the victim role when it comes?
What's that?
You said,
Sorry, I
what's
thought it
that?
quit.
I just want to know why the population of women are pretending that society is traditional when it's not. Like, your way of life is not under threat in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So why pretend as if it is?
I think it has a lot to do with the past generations trying to continue to distill this stigma of women being homemakers, and that's it.
But there is no stigma.
People can't.
There is no stigma.
There is.
Where?
I was
continues.
Where though?
I'm sorry, as a millennial who fucks around with Z's,
So
like
you're
the
looked down
independent
on
woman
if
is the
you're not a
standard.
traditional wife. I've never seen a woman get looked down on for not being a wife.
I would say it's the opposite now. Actually, I would say that women are looked down on for being a host.
For being a homemaker.
Mom.
Yeah, I just gave an example. What'd you do with your life? As if me being a mom is not doing something with my life.
I guess my field's a little different. I was looked down on quite a bit for being a pipeliner, being a welder, I was always told that I need to be at home raising the kids. I shouldn't be out in the field. It was constant.
Well, that's Cheyenne. What's up, Cheyenne?
Yeah, it's me. Hey.
I just realized this thing.
So, I mean, these people are staunchly conservative.
What do you mean?
I was raised by. But I'm also not going to sit and pretend like it's mainstream what she's talking about, because it's not. Women are encouraged in society to go do these jobs that she's speaking of. Now, maybe on the job in her own interpersonal experience, she's getting these things, but society just does not discourage women from doing the type of job that she's interested in doing. They encourage it
Until they get into the field, and then it is very discouraged.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say I'll be the first to admit that. I mean, like if I got an application, like 100 applications for a job, and like I'm looking at the men first for trades usually. That's usually just because, like, depending on what the job is, demand's gonna be stronger, things like that. There will be the odd woman who's capable, but a lot of them aren't. And welding, I don't know exactly what you do as far as welding goes, but running a bead is kind of running a bead. So, like, you're not lifting pipe into place, right? It's all like carried in.
No, we did lift pipe, especially when we were working on fab.
But to me, that sounds like a boo-hoo. I got my feelings hurt because this is a male-dominated field, and they don't think I could do it. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, we're ruthless like that. Yeah, I mean,
that's what I mean, though. Like, if
to
you're
the
going
weak
to be
man.
working in these fields and be able to take how these people talk, like, why complain about it? You're working in a field, so work it. Why does the field have to change for you? Or
It doesn't.
your
And I'm
needs?
not. And I'm sorry if you thought I was coming off that way, but I was just trying to give an example of it. It is actually really frowned upon once you get into that field, and I've seen it time and time again, not just with myself, but other women as well. That they are looked down on because we are women.
I bet you, Cheyenne, when you started giving them shit back, it changed a bit though too, right?
It took me almost a year for the men to respect me. I had to pull my weight, obviously, and do extra just to show them that I could do it and I was capable. I have no problem doing that. None at all.
Yeah.
I'll outwork all the fucking men if I have to. Sorry, YouTube. But there is still that stigma with trades because that's a men's place, and men know that, and they want it to stay that way.
I mean, are they wrong?
Well, I mean, I think it's staying that way naturally as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Naturally.
Like,
it's I wish I can go back in time. Whoever started women rights and making us go to work, I can go back in time and put a duct tape over their mouth and tell them to shut the hell up.
Straight up. Like, how you get to speak for the rest of us? Wait a minute.
Yeah, well, they convinced women that working in a cubicle was better than being at home with your kids, and that's to me that's crazy.
Extortions for more taxes.
That was it. Yeah, that's literally all they wanted. The government wants more money, so what better way than to have the second person in your household work?
I just hate how society has brainwashed women into thinking they have no rights or no voice. I'm like, y'all are tripping.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where are you looking? What world do you live in for you to ever say that you have no rights and no voice?
I'd argue women have the loudest voices in society nowadays.
They're the loudest. the loudest.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, even when it comes down to the enforcement arm, that's the craziest thing, because anyone who's protecting your rights, it's a man.
Yeah, men are the reason you have them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have rights without them.
And other men
Is
wouldn't
there
have rights.
a reason why you're not speaking? Is there a reason why you're in the comments and not talking? Just curious.
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, no. I was doing something, that's why. I'm kind of half cleaning at the same time as on this.
Did all women stay at home prior to the Women's March? The majority of the women did stay home, and the majority of the women weren't even interested.
Is that in all areas of the world?
We're talking about the United States. You become dishonest when we go
That's fair enough.
worldwide.
That's fair.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
the United
that's fair.
States.
Yeah. 90 was it? What was the number? Steve? It was 94% of women.
94%.
Yeah, 94% of women didn't even show up to vote. Or no, only 4% of women showed up to the lone referendum on women's right to vote in 1895.
It was 4%.
Yeah, it was only 4%. And of that 4%, 96% were in favor. The rest of them didn't even bother to show up. They stayed home with their kids. And then men granted them the rights anyways.
I don't know. I think women are just being taught this very nasty, bitter take on men. And they feel like men get too much acknowledgement in society and like, oh, so what? You chose to go build this thing. It was your choice. But give me a baby shower and like 4 or 5 months off of work if I become pregnant by myself. This makes no sense.
Men are the patriarchy.
No sense at all
Sorry.
to me.
There you go. I was just gonna say they think that the patriarchy is like a bad thing, but it's literally the only way.
Yeah, men are the backbone of the world, not just the United States, of the world.
Yep.
They've built everything.
Have you seen these stats that Kayla's posting here? Mechanics are 87.6% male, 5.3%
Because most
female.
women don't want to get inside a car engine and have to wrench a fucking transmission out.
I don't blame
Yeah, exactly.
I get sick
Yeah.
of smashing my hands when I work on my vehicles. Like it's not a fun time. I don't blame any woman for not wanting to be in a trade. I don't, because it sucks.
What we need,
But they should. They should. Every
Or-
single woman should know a trade.
and I'm happy that women are
it's good
investigators because I couldn't sit there and wipe people's asses. I mean,
Hey, I just want to point something out. Notice the chaos leaves once people start to calm down and reason with one another and acknowledge certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Peace out.
Is Ginger coming back?
I don't know who that is. Hades with the rabies. Who are you?
It's a wild name.
Interesting.
Are you a female or a
Sexy
male?
ass motherfucker.
It's a man.
All right, where are you?
Hold it. He's a friend of Richard.
Oh, Richard?
You gotta speak
What's
up.
up, Richard's
We can't
friend?
hear you.
Who the fuck is Richard?
Oh, who are you?
I'm dead.
I'm not Richard.
Okay, what's your name?
Hades.
Hades? I don't know who you are. You're just like my first time seeing you here.
I love you guys. Thank you. This is my first time here. I got an invite like 12 seconds ago.
Oh my god.
you know.
Who invited you? Okay. Are you American? Are you American?
I don't say where I'm from though, but I'm not American.
You're not American. I don't want to know where you're from. I just want to know. Okay, you're not American. How about this Soros dude who just came in here?
The Sorrow dude. Sorrow's a fucking Nazi. I'm
You're
not
a
gonna lie to
Nazi?
you.
Are you
not
pro
gonna-
Hitler?
She's pro Hitler. She loves fucking white men. Everything. She's terrible. Wait,
I'd be careful with that. The Mr. Mustache on YouTube there, but
Yeah, I've
Right,
already cut
on
the feed.
YouTube.
It's okay. I cut the feed.
okay, good. All right.